Greetings from Talent Battle. Hello everyone, I am Rohit. Welcome to our new video. In this video, we are going to solve the previous year coding questions for TCS Drive. This video will help you to prepare for the same. Also, you can join our masterclass training where we are going to cover all the previous year questions. Also join our social media handles like Telegram groups, Instagram page and WhatsApp groups. We are constantly updating the placement related information over there. Links to all these handles is given in the video description. So before we start, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell icon for the instant notifications about our videos. Let's quickly jump to the problem statement. See, what is given in the problem statements? To solve such type of questions, you need to understand what is given properly. All the conditions are properly mentioned. Understand that conditions. On the basis of that information, develop the logical flow and then write down the code for it. So coding part will be easy once you understand all the given part properly. So what is given here? It was one of the places where people needs to get their provisions only through fair price ration shops. As the elder had a domestic and official work to attend to, their wards were asked to buy the items from these shops. Needless to say, there was a long queue of boys and girls, right? So there is a queue actually. But it doesn't mean that you have to utilize a queue data structure over here. Just understand what is given properly. To minimize the tedium of standing in the serpentine queue, means the straight one, the kids were given mints, right? So chocolates you can say. I went to the last boy in the queue and asked him how many mints he has. So for last one, right? So let us assume there are 3 boys standing in the queue, B1, B2 and B3. Okay. And I went to the last boy, that is B3. So he said that the number of mints, right? So from here you can check out the conditions properly. He said that the number of mints he has is 1 less than the sum of all the mints of the kids standing before him in the queue. Means we can write down the condition for this on the basis of this statement, that summation of all the kids B1 is having, then B2 is having minus 1. That will exactly give me the value of B3. Right? Then I went to the penultimate kid. Penultimate means last but one. How many mints she has? So she said that if I add all the mints of the kids before her there is only B1 and subtract 1 from it, right? So for B2 I can write down the condition B1 minus 2. Sorry, B1 minus 1 actually. Because it is mentioned subtract 1 from it. The result will be equals to the mints she has. It seems to be a uniform response. Everyone is saying like that. Summation of all the previous values minus 1. So I can write down the logic on the basis of this, that I will be calculating previous value is equals to sum minus 1. And whatever the updated previous value I will receive, I can utilize that for the current value of summation. So these two statements will help you to develop the logic. Previous will be calculated account of this and latest sum, final result will be calculated on the basis of this, right? So I went, when I went to the boy at the head of the queue, that is B1, consoling myself that he would not give the same response, he said I have 4 mints, right? So he is providing the actual value, that 4 mints. Now if we get the actual value of B1, now we can calculate B2 also. B1 minus 1, that is 3, 4 minus 1. And on the basis of this, 4 plus 3, 7 minus 1, that is 6. So total will be 4 plus 3 plus 6, that is 13. So if there are 3 individuals in the queue and first one is having 4 mints, total mints to have will be 13. So the given number of first kid mints, that is the value of n is equals to 4, and length of the queue, that is length is equals to 3, B1, B2 and B3. So write a program to display the total number of mints. So I am expecting output to be 13 over here in this particular input case. We have to write down the logic on the basis of these two statements, because those conditions are mentioned here. The constants for n and length are also mentioned, that is value of n should be greater than 2 less than 10, as well as the value of length should be greater than 1 less than 20. And what is the provided test case? 4, that is the value of n, and 2, that is the value of length. So 2 inputs you have to take in the first line and output is 7. Now how 7 has been achieved? As there are only 2, length of the queue is 2, means there are only 2 individuals standing in the queue, B1 and B2. And value of n is 4, means B1 is having 4 mints, and we have the condition what B2 is B1 minus 1, right? So 4 minus 1, that is 3. So once you calculate the total will be 4 plus 3, that is 7. So that's why the output is 7 over here, right? Now develop the logic. Once completed with this part, now we can apply the same logic here in the coding part also. So coding part will be easy once you understand this problem statement and the given conditions. Okay, so let's move on to the coding part. Now I will be writing the code in C++. The logic will remain same. You can apply the same thing in other language also, right? So first you take header file, then namespace, then in the main functionality you can take some variables. Suppose I am taking s and n. S is my mints for the first case because I will be applying that value to the summation also, and n is the length over here. Then take the input for the value of s and n. Now I will be assigning sum is equals to s initially, and I will have one more variable that is previous that I am using for calculation. So in the for loop from I to n, so I is equals to 1, I less than n, I plus plus, I will be applying that logic what we discussed. So previous will be calculated sum minus 1 and new sum will be calculated sum plus previous, updated value of previous we will be utilizing. Once you receive the updated value, just print that part of sum. You will get the final results, right? So let us execute it for the provided test case. First input test case is 4 mints and length is 2. So I am expecting 7 as output. So it is working fine. Then if I consider second case that 4 mints and 3 is the length, then I am getting 13. So we have calculated that 13 part here. See, 4 plus 3 plus 6. So in this way you will get the output of the particular condition. So only these two statements, line number 13 and 14 is important, and that you get the idea what theoretical stuff they have provided. From that you will get the idea. Okay. So I hope you understood the logic and coding part. Let's move on to the next problem statement. Now next problem statement is this: write a program to find whether the given number is strong or not. Now on the basis of this strong number, they have provided the definition part also, that a number is said to be a strong if sum of factorial of digits. So digit factorial we have to calculate, and then we have to take the sum is equals to the original number. So we will be cross checking that. So there are 2-3 steps. First step, you will be applying factorial logic, right? Second, you will be having a digit separation logic. Normally what we do in reverse part or Armstrong palindrome, that logic you can apply here. By modulo division and normal division you can have the digit separation, and every digit factorial will be taken, and then summation. So cross check the results whether output, that is the sum, is equals to original number or not. If yes, you have to just display the yes, otherwise no. So 145 is a strong number. The reason is I have separated the digits 1, 4 and 5. So factorial of 1 plus factorial of 4, that is 24, factorial of 5, that is 120, and the final summation is 145. Similarly for 1, 2, 3 also, if I take consideration, so 1 factorial plus 2 factorial plus 3 factorial. So 1 plus 2 plus 6, that is 9, which is not equals to 123. So this is not a strong number. In this way you can have the logic application. So you will be writing the factorial functionality, right, separately, and the digit separation. So digit separation you can do with the help of while loop. Just take a temporary variable and apply the logic. So inside the while loop you can have the calculations of remainder part. Suppose integer r is equals to modulo division to this number, you will get a remainder value. Then take some variable that will be on the basis of current value of sum, plus you can have a factorial functionality, and pass this remainder value to calculate the factorial, because this will give me digit, and that digit factorial we have to calculate. So I will pass this as an argument to the factorial function. After that completion of the factorial, I have to separate out the digits. So I will be applying normal division logic, temp by 10, right, in this case. And in after I received the final output, I can have the comparison. So if the value of n is equals to some value, means it is a positive case, strong number, so I will be printing S, and in the else part I will be printing no, right? This will be the case, and my while loop will end over here. Apart from this while loop, you have to write down one more functionality, that is factorial. So one more separate function you can write down, factorial, which will accept the remainder part. Okay, so suppose take number, and inside that I will have one more variable fact, that is equals to 1 initially, and in the for loop starting from 1 to number I plus plus, I will be just calculating fact is equals to fact multiplied by I. But this function will return some value, that is the factorial of that individual digit, and that value will be utilized here for the sum calculation, right? So in this way you can write down the code for this particular problem statement. So for this solving of such kind of problem statement, you need a knowledge about factorial information, how the factorial is calculated, how the digit separation logic. In many of the problem statements we use this, right? And then simple if else condition. So let's move on to the actual coding part. I will be just writing down the similar logic in C++. So add the header file first, after that namespace, and in the main function, right? Before writing down the main function, you can write down the factorial here as well, factorial integer num, because it will accept one value, as I have already discussed how it will work, so I can directly write it down. So integer fact equals to 1, and in the for loop I, integer I equals to 1, I less than equals to num I plus plus, right? And inside this for loop I will be calculating fact multiply by I, and this will return, after completion of this loop, it will return the factorial value. Okay, this function will return the factorial value, and I will be accepting that factorial value in the main function as discussed earlier. So in the main function I will take one n variable, that is our input. So I accept the input, then I will take a temporary variable and I will assign value of n to that temporary. Reason is I will be processing that variable, digit separation logic, factorial logic is there, so my variable value is going to get changed, but I need original value also for comparison, right? So that's why I'm taking one extra variable here. Then I will take one sum variable initialized to 0. After that, in the while loop, applying this, take a remainder part, remainder is equals to modulo division by 10. So I have explained this part, remainder, right? Now I will calculate sum plus equals to factorial functionality, and I will pass remainder value to this as an argument. Once I get the results, I will be separating out the digit, right? And after this I am calculating the if part. So if my value of n is equals to sum, I will be printing yes, right? And in the else block I will be simply printing no. Now once my else block is completed, now instead of I would like to modify the case where instead of putting this part inside the while loop, you can separate it out, right? That is one thing. Whatever the final value you will receive, then you can have the cross checking of this, right? So separate it out from the while loop and then return 0. So let's cross check for the provided input. Okay, so syntactically it is correct. See, now 145 is the input, it is showing me yes as a result, because 145 is a strong number according to the given logic. Let us execute for another number, that is 123, it is showing me no. So this is the flow, how you can apply. So the knowledge of basic loops, right, remainder functionality, factorial functionality will help you, digit separation logic, to solve such kind of problem statements. So the coding level is easy to medium in the TCS examinations. Only the basic fundamentals are expected to be clear, right? Our next coding statement is this. We want to estimate the cost of painting a property. Interior wall painting cost is given, that is rupees 18 per square feet, and exterior wall painting cost is also given, that is rupees 12. And what are the inputs? The first input is number of interior walls. Second input is number of exterior walls. Third input is surface area of each interior wall in units of square feet. So this will be a multiple inputs. And fourth one is also same, surface area for each exterior wall. So this will be also multiple inputs dependent on the number of interior and exterior walls. If a user enters 0 as the number of walls, then skip the surface area values, as user may don't want to paint that wall. So if input is 0 or less than 0, we have to consider that as an invalid, and for 0 the cost will be 0. Calculate and display the total cost of painting the property. So we have to actually calculate the total cost. So let us check what is given to us in the sample input case. 6, this is my first input, that is number of interior walls, right? So we have the value of number of interior walls. Suppose I am taking int walls for this, that is equals to 6. And we have second input, that is number of exterior walls, that is ext walls equals to 3. So now I am expecting 6 inputs for interior walls surface area, right? So these 6 values which are in float are my interior walls surface area, and these 3 values are my exterior walls, right? Surface area for exterior walls. And we have to calculate the total cost, estimated cost. This is this 1847.4 INR. Following input and output format as given in the above example. So same format we have to follow, and the cost is also given to us. So what we have to do actually, take the input and calculate the cost on the basis of surface area. So surface area multiply with the cost factor will give me the cost, and you have to repeat this process for all the inputs. So my approach for solving this problem statement will be like this. First, we will take the inputs, right? For all the cases, interior walls as well as exterior walls. Then second, check for the condition, right? First condition you will check, that is condition 1, the walls, whether it is interior or exterior, if it is less than 0, then that will be invalid input. You can add this as it is not mentioned in the problem statement, so it is just consideration if the walls are less than 0. Second condition you will be checking if the walls, interior or exteriors, are equals to 0. Either or, like interior walls are 0 or exterior walls are 0. In that case, what you can do, you can directly display the cost is equals to 0.0 INR, because there will not be any cost for painting because walls are 0. And the third important case, so we can use 2 for loops here, because in the single for loop you can go with the interior and another for loop go with the exterior, right? So if I take for loop for interior walls, for loop for int walls, and inside that for loops I will take one temporary variable and I will calculate the cost. So cost is equals to price multiply by temp. Temp is nothing but the input for interior wall surface area. So this loop will work for all the inputs of interior walls, and you will get the final cost. And again one more for loop I will take for exterior walls. Same logic, like cost is equals to latest cost of interior walls. So total cost we have to consider. So otherwise we are going to merge it at the end. So instead of merging it separately, you can directly use the same variable. Again price multiply by temp. So you will be getting final cost here. And last you have to display that final cost. But while displaying the cost, take care that this message total estimated cost colon 1847.4 whatever is the calculated value INR, as it is you have to do this. Now little bit of format specifiers we have to use here, because after decimal point there is single digit, right? So we have to apply 0.1f for the float output as a format specifier, and INR will be in the message, right? So that you are following the exact format what is provided to us. So this will be our logic flow to solve this problem statement. Okay, now let us move to the coding part. I will be applying same logic to solve this problem statement. Simply I will be coding it in C language so that easily we can understand the case. So first you just take the header file, right? Then in the main functionality, initially take some variables. Suppose I am taking int walls, then exterior walls, and I will be requiring I variable which is initialized to 0 or instead of initialization, because otherwise in for loop we are initializing it, so just take a single variable I over there. Then some float variables also, because price parameter and the surface area parameters are going to get multiplied, so generation will be little bit in float values. So interior price, that is already given to us, that is 18, right? Then exterior price, this is also given to us, that is 12. Then I will take one cost variable initialized to 0 and one temporary variable for taking the surface area input in the for loop, right? Then our first logic step, that is scanf %d, because we have to take the input for interior walls, total interior walls and total exterior walls. So I will be utilizing that ampersand int underscore walls comma ampersand ext underscore walls. So this will give me input for interior walls and exterior walls. Now as discussed, let us check the condition. If the interior walls are less than 0 or exterior walls are also less than 0, either or condition, then in this case you can display the message for invalid input, right? Printf invalid input. Now this is not mentioned actually in the problem statement, but we can consider this condition also. Then in the next else if, I will be checking the condition for equals to 0. So if interior walls are equals to 0 and exterior walls are also equals to 0. So I am using logical AND over here. The reason is, there is a possibility that interior walls may be 0 and exterior walls will have some number. So we have to calculate the total cost. So if number is there, means costing will be there. So that's why logical AND, right? But in case of 0, you can consider that as an invalid part. Now once I received 0 as an input, in this case, I will be just displaying the cost factor, that is 0, right? So message I will be utilizing like this. It is given in the problem statement, total estimated cost is 0.0 INR, right? Same message we have to display. Now in the else block, our actual for loop logic will be there, right? So just take the for loop first, I equals to 0, I less than up to interior walls, you have to traverse, and I plus plus, right? Inside this for loop, I will be using a scanf functionality for accepting the input. Now as I told you that input is in float parameter, so I will be using %f comma ampersand temporary variable, and here I will calculate the cost. So cost plus equals to price, int price we have taken, that is for interior walls price, multiply by surface area, that is temporary variable. So this for loop will give me the cost for interior walls. Similar kind of for loop we can directly utilize for exterior walls also. So I will be just copying that and changing the name of the variables, right? Exterior walls, and here also I will be changing the price for exterior, right? So same cost will be utilized. So because we have to take the total cost, right? So you can utilize the same variable over there. So cost is equals to cost plus exterior price multiplied by temporary, that is the input for surface area. Once this for loop are done, both the for loop, we can directly display the total cost. So my message will be same, total estimated cost colon %.1f, right? See, this is what I am doing for 1 decimal digit, right? Comma cost variable I will be printing. Clear? And after this logic, my block of statements ends, and after that return 0, complete the block, right? So this will be the coding part. Now let us cross check for the provided input. So check for the input also. What is input? 6, 3, and then number of surface area for interior walls and exterior walls also. So 6 is my interior walls, 3 is my exterior walls, right? And then the surface area is 12.3, 15.2. Alternatively it is been provided. So 12.3, 15.2, again 12.3, 15.2, again 12.3 and 15.2. 6 inputs for interior walls I have taken, and then 10.10, 10.10 and 10.00. So 10.10, 10.10 and 10.00, right? So all 6 and 3, 9 inputs have been considered, and when I enter, I got the total estimated cost as 1847.4 INR, and this is exactly we are expecting, 1847.4 INR, right? So if you apply this logic flow, you can easily solve this question. Once the understanding of condition, how you are going to calculate the cost on the basis of multiple inputs in the for loop, if you understand that part, easily you can write down the code for this. Okay, so I hope you understand this. Let's move to the next coding statement. See, the next problem statement is this. So in TCS NQT, series type of questions are also asked, right? Find the 15th term of the series. So series is given to us. What is our task? We have to first identify what kind of series is this, means what is logic in this particular series. Once you understand that logical part, easily you can write down the code for that. Now explanation is also given for us to understand the case. In this series, the odd term, right, odd term is the increment of 7, and the even term is the increment of 6. Even term is the increment of 6. So if you check odd term, right, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, all these are the increment of 7. See, 0 plus 7, again 7 plus 7, 14, 14 plus 7, 21, like this. And the even values 2, 4, 6, 8 are the increment of 6. See, 0 plus 6, 6, 6 plus 6, 12, then 12 plus 6, 18. So this kind of logic is there. So if I want to calculate the 10th term, right, for example, or 11th term, then 12, then 13, then 14th, and then 15th. Because as it is mentioned, we have to find the 15th term. But we will be writing a generalized program on the basis of whatever is the input given, that particular value will be calculated. So if I up to 15, I will explain the logical part. So 10th is a even term, right? So it will be the difference of 6. So after 18, you will get 24 over here, and 10 it will be 30, then it will be 36. Similarly for 11, 13 and 15, which are odd values, you will be getting 28, then 35. Add 7 into it, so you will get 42, and add 7 into it, you will get 49. So this is our expected output. The 15th term is nothing but 49. So our output for this code should be 49 according to the given input, that is 15th term of the series. Continuously you can calculate this. Now how will be the logical part? Because as even odd conditions you can check, because the order of the series and odd terms and even terms are given, right? So on the basis of that even odd logic, you can write down the code. Even odd logic we can utilize here, right? And once you calculate the even odd logic, if the number is odd or number is even, you will be adding 6 to it, right? Take it plus 6. And if the number is odd, you will be adding plus 7. But what will happen if this logic is continuously utilized? It will create a difference of 6 and 7 here because of this 0 starting one. So when you actually display the results, what you do in that case, you just subtract the part of this 6 and 7 from the final output, so that it will exactly give you the same value, right? So this will be the only logical part for this kind of problem statements. So let us directly write down the code for this and then understand the logic flow, right? So even odd logic is common and everyone is aware about that part. So let us move to the coding part. So again I am writing it into C language, easy. Now only one single input is there for this program. Okay, so first declare some variables. Suppose I variable I will be requiring for comparison, n will be my total input, actual input value. Then initially I will take a variable which is equals to 0 and b variable which is equals to 0. Initially I will be utilizing this a and b values for calculations of the terms, right? Then just take the input scanf %d ampersand n. This will be my term. 15th term they have asked, you can use 17th, 19th, 16, 14, any term, right? The value of n will be the input. Then in the for loop where I starts from 1 will be I less than equals to n. Up to that particular term we have to traverse. Right, now inside this for loop I will be checking the conditions for even and odd, right? You can take any sequence, no problem. So suppose I modulo 2 is not equals to 0, if I take this first condition, so this will give me odd values, and what we have discussed, that odd value is a difference of 7 values, 7 number. So I will be utilizing a is equals to a plus 7, and in the else block it will be b, that is for even, b is equals to b plus 6. So this is the difference they have mentioned, and we have identified in the series also every particular term, whether it is a even term, the difference is of 6, if it is an odd term, the difference is of 7, right? So we are applying and following that same approach. Now once this for loop is totally done, you will get the values of a and b, latest values of a and b after every calculation up to that n value, after traversing up to that respective term. Now our result is, whatever the value you received, just check again whether that is also satisfying the condition of even odd. So n modulo 2 is not equals to 0, then it is an odd value and we have to subtract that 7, right? So printf %d directly, and the value that we are going to display is a minus 7. Okay, and in the else block we will be displaying b value, that is for odd, %d comma b minus 6, right? So because of that difference, as I discussed earlier, we have to make these changes, a minus 7 and b minus 6, so that 0 difference, making the difference of 7 and 6 will be eliminated, and you will get the exact value for that respective term, right? And after this, just complete the block by writing return 0, and let us execute it. So if 15 is the input, I am expecting 49 as an answer. As we discussed, the 15th term of this particular series will be 49, right? If I write down 13 as an input or 14, I will be expecting 42 and 36. So let us cross check for that part also. If the input is 13th term, then I am getting 42, see? And if the input is 14th term, for odd check, even check also, it is 36. So the logic, generalized logic what we discussed, is applicable for both the cases, right? So I hope you understand the problem statement and the logic developed in it. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.